Hello and welcome to this video on how Transnistria affects Moldova's politics. Transnistria is a breakaway region in Eastern Europe that declared its independence from Moldova in 1990 but is not recognized by any country in the world. It is located on the left bank of the Dniester River, bordering Ukraine and Moldova. It has its own flag, currency, constitution, parliament, and army, but it is also heavily dependent on Russia for economic and military support. Transnistria has been a source of tension and conflict in the region for decades, and it has a significant impact on Moldova's political situation. In this video, we will explore four main effects of Transnistria on Moldova's politics: territorial integrity, foreign relations, domestic divisions, and security risks. The first effect of Transnistria on Moldova's politics is that it prevents Moldova from having full control over its territory and borders, which undermines its sovereignty and security. Moldova is a landlocked country, and Transnistria blocks its access to the Dniester River, which is an important waterway and a potential source of energy. Transnistria also controls a segment of Moldova's border with Ukraine, which makes it difficult for Moldova to monitor and regulate the movement of people and goods across the border. This creates problems such as smuggling, trafficking, and corruption, which affect Moldova's economy and stability. Moreover, Transnistria's existence as a de facto state challenges Moldova's legitimacy and authority as the sole representative of its people and territory. Transnistria claims to be the successor of the Moldavian Soviet Socialist Republic, which was part of the Soviet Union until 1991, and rejects Moldova's sovereignty and independence. Transnistria also has its own symbols and identity, which are based on Soviet nostalgia and Russian culture, and contrast with Moldova's national identity, which is influenced by Romanian and European values. The second effect of Transnistria on Moldova's politics is that it complicates Moldova's relations with Russia, which considers Transnistria as part of its sphere of influence and opposes Moldova's integration with the European Union and NATO. Russia has been the main supporter and protector of Transnistria since the war in 1992, when it intervened on the side of the separatists and brokered a ceasefire agreement. Russia still maintains about 1,500 troops and a large stockpile of weapons and ammunition in Transnistria, despite the international pressure to withdraw them. Russia also provides Transnistria with economic aid, trade preferences, and citizenship for most of its residents. Russia views Transnistria as a strategic asset and a leverage point against Moldova and the West, and it uses Transnistria as a tool to influence Moldova's foreign policy and domestic politics. Russia opposes Moldova's aspirations to join the European Union and NATO, and it tries to persuade Moldova to join the Eurasian Economic Union and the Collective Security Treaty Organization, which are Russia-led regional blocs. Russia also uses Transnistria as a pretext to impose sanctions, trade restrictions, and energy cuts on Moldova, whenever Moldova takes steps to strengthen its ties with the West. Russia also supports the pro-Russian political parties and media outlets in Moldova, which advocate for closer relations with Russia and Transnistria, and for a federalization of Moldova that would grant Transnistria a high degree of autonomy. The third effect of Transnistria on Moldova's politics is that it creates a divided society in Moldova, where some people support reunification with Transnistria, while others favor a pro-Western orientation. Moldova is a multi-ethnic and multilingual country, with a population of about 3.5 million people, of which about 75% are ethnic Moldovans, 7% are ethnic Ukrainians, 6% are ethnic Russians, and 4% are ethnic Gagauz, who are a Turkic-speaking minority. Moldova also has two official languages: Romanian, which is spoken by most Moldovans, and Russian, which is spoken by most minorities and by some Moldovans as a second language. Transnistria, on the other hand, has a population of about 500,000 people, of which about 30% are ethnic Moldovans, 30% are ethnic Russians, and 28% are ethnic Ukrainians. Transnistria's official languages are Russian, Ukrainian, and Moldovan, which is written in the Cyrillic alphabet, unlike Romanian, which is written in the Latin alphabet. These ethnic and linguistic differences reflect the different historical and cultural influences that shaped Moldova and Transnistria, and they also translate into different political preferences and orientations. Generally speaking, most ethnic Moldovans and Romanian speakers in Moldova support reunification with Transnistria, and they also support Moldova's integration with the European Union and NATO, as they see them as a way to enhance Moldova's sovereignty, security, and prosperity. On the other hand, most ethnic Russians, Ukrainians, and Gagauz in Moldova as well as most people in Transnistria, oppose reunification with Transnistria, and they also oppose Moldova's integration with the European Union and NATO, as they see them as a threat to their rights, interests, and identity. They prefer to maintain close ties with Russia and Transnistria, and to preserve Moldova's neutrality and status quo. These divisions create polarization and fragmentation in Moldova's society and politics, and they make it hard for Moldova to achieve a national consensus and a coherent vision for its future. The fourth and final effect of Transnistria on Moldova's politics is that it poses a potential risk of renewed conflict, especially in the context of the ongoing war in Ukraine, which also involves a Russian-backed separatist region. Transnistria and Moldova have been engaged in a peace process since 1992 under the auspices of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, which also includes Russia, Ukraine, and the European Union as mediators, and the United States and Turkey as observers. The peace process aims to find a peaceful and mutually acceptable solution for the Transnistrian conflict, based on the principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and self-determination. However, the peace process has been stalled and deadlocked for years due to the lack of trust and political will on both sides and the divergent interests and agendas of the external actors. The situation has become more tense and volatile since 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea and supported the separatist movements in eastern Ukraine, which sparked a war that is still ongoing and has claimed over 13,000 lives. The war in Ukraine has raised fears and suspicions in Moldova and Transnistria, and has increased the military and diplomatic pressure from Russia and the West. The war in Ukraine has also shown that the status quo in Transnistria is fragile and unsustainable, and that the risk of escalation and violence is real and imminent. Therefore, it is imperative for Moldova and Transnistria, as well as for the international community, to resume and intensify the peace talks and to find a way to resolve the Transnistrian conflict peacefully before it is too late. Conclusion. Summarize the main points of the video. Transnistria is a breakaway region that affects Moldova's politics in four ways: territorial integrity, foreign relations, domestic divisions, and security risks. Emphasize the importance and urgency of finding a peaceful solution for the Transnistrian conflict and the role and responsibility of Moldova, Transnistria, and the international community in this regard. Thank the viewers for watching and invite them to comment, like, share, and subscribe to the channel.